Many of us know Steve Kerr as the head coach of the Golden State Warriors, and he played with Michael Jordan in the mid-1990s. Many call him the Splash Father, as he himself was one of the best three-point shooters in the league at one time. Now coaching the Splash Brothers, many often wonder just how good Steve Kerr was in the NBA. The most iconic moment of his career was the game-winning shot in the 1997 finals against the Utah Jazz. With the game tied at 84 all, Kerr would make the go-ahead basket after receiving a pass from a double-team Jordan, knocking down a 17-footer to help seal the victory and win the title. But how did he get here? If I told you that Kerr was almost out of the league going unsigned prior to joining the Bulls, you might be in disbelief. This is the story of how the shot almost never happened. Steve Kerr played for the Arizona Wildcats in college and was drafted in the second round with the 50th overall pick by the Phoenix Suns in 1988. The Suns knew they were drafting a shooting guard who could stretch the floor and knock down shots with efficiency. His college stats proved that. Kerr was the perfect role player. Although he lacked the quickness and athleticism to create his own shots, he realized his best chance in the NBA was to come off the bench. His rookie year, Kerr would only be activated for 23 games during the 1988 and 89 season and play only 6 minutes a game. The following year, he would be traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers for a second-round draft pick. Kerr would play 3.5 seasons with the Cavs and make the playoffs twice. Kerr's stats were nothing special. What he had going for him is that he was able to come off the bench cold and still shoot an impressive 46% from the field and 47% from the three. The Cavs would trade Kerr to the Orlando Magic for a second-round draft pick. In my opinion, that was a generous offer in part of Orlando, as Steve would only average 6 points and 2.5 assists a game. During the season, the Magic would face his former team Cleveland, and Kerr would not see a single minute against the team, not even a chance at redemption. 5 years in the NBA, and at 27 years old, Kerr reached a low point in his career, and I'm sure he thought he didn't have much longer in the league. He played in only 9 minutes a game on a team that missed the playoffs that season. Averaging 2.6 points, his chance at signing with the team would be slim to none, in which he thought, I mean, would you sign him? But then there was this guy, Jerry Krause, the GM of the Chicago Bulls, who would sign Kerr in 1993 and the 94 season. But what did the three-peat Bulls want with a guy who averaged 1 basket a game? This. Steve Kerr showed the potential to be the perfect role player for the Bulls. His ability to come off the bench and shoot with efficiency when your legs are barely lukewarm is a skill in itself. Coupled with Phil Jackson's coaching, who was able to get the most out of each player's strength, Kerr's role on the team would change his career, and he would come to the realization that as a player on the team, it wasn't about how many baskets he would make in a single game, but when he made those baskets were what mattered most, in which he proved time and time again. Fast forward to March of 1997. The Bulls are playing the Dallas Mavericks in a regular season game. Steve Kerr managed a late fourth quarter comeback on his own without Jordan and Pippen on the court for 9 minutes straight, hitting every shot he took. He would score 15 points in the last 12.5 minutes of play, going 8 for 10 in field goals and 4 for 5 for threes. Prior to the Dallas game, Kerr was 17 for 21 in threes and 25 of 30 in field goals. In the last 8 games, Kerr was averaging almost 13 points a game at 64% shooting in those 8 games. Fun fact, Steve Kerr would win the three-point contest that year. I think it was safe to say that Kerr believed he belonged in the league now, and some would even say that it only takes 1 game to propel a career, just like Jordan in college, hitting the game winner in the national finals to help UNC win the championship. That's when Mike would be known as Michael Jordan and his career took flight. Then there was the shot. This was a moment that would define Kerr's career. The series against the Utah Jazz was 3-2, with the game tied at 86. Dennis Rodman would pick up the defensive rebound, call a timeout with 28 seconds left on the game clock. Jordan and Kerr were sitting on the bench together and discussing the play. Jordan knew Stockton would leave Kerr to come over and double, giving Kerr the wide open shot and sinking it, which is exactly what happened. Bulls would again win back-to-back titles. The following year, during the 1998 playoffs, the Bulls would face Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers in the conference finals, and it would be the second time during their dynasty the Bulls would see a 7-game series. Kerr would see only 18 minutes during that game, scoring 11 points while hitting a key three-pointer down the stretch and also forcing a charge, helping the Bulls to an 88-83 victory and advancing to the NBA Finals. And I bet you can guess what happens. Yep, Bulls three-peat. Kerr would go on winning 3 championships with the Bulls and then be traded to the San Antonio Spurs. During Game 6 of the 2003 Western Conference against the Dallas Mavericks, he would catch fire again in an important game in which the Spurs were down 15 points in the second half, leading the charge in a 45-15 point run, securing the victory and advancing to the NBA Finals, in which the Spurs would go on to win. Kerr would win 2 championships with the Spurs. Steve Kerr made himself a household name in the league and was as clutch as a player could be in games that mattered most for his teams. To be able to come off the bench and be as efficient as he was incredible. Although his career stats are nothing to brag about, just look at these shooting percentages. You don't get these numbers without a high IQ, especially at a height of 6'4" and average athleticism. Kerr has the highest 3-point percentage in NBA history. These numbers reflect at least 250 made threes. Kerr also held the highest 3-point percentage in a single season with 52.4%. That was until Kyle Korver beat his record in 2010. Kerr is the Splash Father. With 8 rings, that is a lot of rings.
Phil told Michael, he said, "Michael, I want you to take the last shot." And Michael said, "You know, Phil, I don't feel real comfortable in these situations. So maybe we ought to go in another direction." So I thought to myself, well, I guess I got to bail Michael out again.